Hi there, I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor and this is the Breakfast Club. It's the 16th of January and if you don't know it already, it's World Startup Day. And one sector in which India is now a shining example. So we thought we'll leave you with a little bit of inspiration this morning.
We're going to be speaking to some very exciting founders about their founder story. We'll be understanding more about the startup ecosystem as a whole too right here on the show. My name is Toya Singh. Let's take a look at all of the headlines. All right, first up, as we promised.
World Startup Day 2025, the rise of entrepreneurs across India. Meet the game changers of India's startup. What is the secret sauce? Did you know that only 10% of startups actually make it big? So what is it required to really make your startup successful in 2025? All your questions answered on the program today.
And we're not done with talking about innovation. We'll be taking a look at India's semiconductor leap, the building blocks for chip success. We're going to be speaking to a founder's vision for tech leadership in this sector, what it means for India to create jobs through semiconductors.
Also coming up on the program today, we've got an overdrive verdict of the latest BMW, the R1300 GS review. We get inside, we take it on the road to understand the engine, the design, and the ride quality. All right, imagine a world where every brilliant idea gets a chance to shine. That's what World Startup Day is all about. It's time to cheer on the amazing people who dare to dream big and turn those dreams into reality. India has become a major player now in its global startup movement.
Right, and we thought we should take a deeper look because since the launch of Startup India as an initiative back in 2016, the country's actually seen more than 1.17 lakh startups. India is the hotbed for startups with thousands of young minds coming up with innovative solutions every single day to real-world problems. And these startups are not just businesses, they're obviously creating jobs, they're driving progress, and they're shaping our country's future. And what's exciting is the startups are no longer limited just to big cities. We're seeing it in tier 2, tier 3 cities too.
And that's the big game changer when it comes to the startup revolution here in India. People from all walks of life, whether they're from small towns, big cities, even dropouts, are diving into the entrepreneurial hip. They are driven by dream to make a difference and create something new. So on January 16th, World Startup Day, we celebrate the entrepreneurs, the risk takers, the ones who are turning their passions into business and opportunities and employment. Let's inspire the next generation of innovators and show them that anything is really possible. And to get you inspired this morning, we have two shining examples. With us, first up, let me bring on Tarun Sharma. Tarun is the co-founder and CEO of PEP Brands. It's the parent company for mCaffeine and HYPHEN. mCaffeine, if you guys don't know already, is a skincare and beauty brand. It has a gross revenue of over 540 crore. He also is the co-founder for HYPHEN, another beauty skincare brand backed by Kirti Sanan, which also has a revenue of about 100 CR. So Tarun, firstly, big congratulations. Quite a leap in a sector which is very crowded, where the customer really is spoiled for choice. So you're making it big there, which is quite a leap. But since we are starting the conversation on World Startup Day, I have to ask you first up your secret sauce. What do you think makes your brands, your story stand apart from thousands and lakhs of those out there? I think you're on mute. If you can check that, please.
Hi, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning, both of you. Thank you so much for inviting me. And it's a lovely show. I've been following it. So kudos to you guys of spearheading the entire narrative around startups. And congratulations to all these startups out there. I saw the data, probably about 1.5–2% of the startups actually make it really big because there is a lot of, mortality rate in startups. But on the secret sauce, I think we are outsiders to this space. We have never been from, cosmetology or beauty personal care, be it manufacturing or be it from the front-end brand building side. We are hardcore engineers. So what we understand is data. So I think one of the secret sauces of PEP as a house is data. We rely a lot on data. But one of the things which early on we realized is that pretty much no one has the answers, right? The founders are taking a leap of faith on the market, right? The only cohort which has the answers is consumers. And as you said, consumers are spoiled for the choices, right? When we started, there were about 9,000 listed brands on Amazon or let's say Nika in our space. Now there are about 71,000 brands. So you can
Wow.
imagine the kind of growth our space has had. In this highly cluttered space or highly competitive space, we need to just figure out that how, on a degree of 1 to 10, we are obsessed about consumers. And if we are paranoid about consumers, I think it flows down to your product, marketing, distribution, your supply chain. And that continually doing for multiple decades probably makes remotely a success story.
Tarun, tell us a little bit about how you actually got into forming mCaffeine, the caffeine-based products. Because first you were running salons, you decided, no, we're not going to go with this. We're going to go with caffeine-based products instead. How did you make that switch? And also tell us the role of the different H's. You have this 5H thing that you talk about a lot, hard work,
Yeah.
hustle. And you say humor plays a role too. Tell us about that.
It does. Got it. So I think if you look at India, India has always been an ingredient first country, right? So if you go to Nani ke nuske or Dadi ke nuske, there is always an ingredient attached to it, right? Dahi laga lo, right? Do this, shahad laga lo. So there is always an ingredient. And if you look at the brands are built out of neem, brands are built out of almond, brands are built out of coconut. But what we really realized is that the millennials, who is the new consumption audience, right, from, geo revolution after mobile and internet penetration, was pretty much not connecting with these ingredients. So you need an ingredient where the millennials connect with. And if you look at a millennial life, you just observe a millennial life, they run around caffeine. So morning coffee to midnight Red Bull, right? So it is caffeine around them, right? And physiologically, caffeine is one of the most potent ingredients for hair care and skincare. And we happened to chance upon it. I had a sore eye, and in India, everybody is a doctor, right? And then everybody loves to give advices. So my flatmate gave me one that, why don't you put a green tea bag on your sore eye? And when I did it, my eye got normalized. And when we started researching, we realized that caffeine is one of the oldest ingredient propositions. Back in 10th century, there was a book in Persia, Canon of Medicine, in which caffeine literature was given for skincare and hair care. And we realized that there's so much research happened physiologically. People are using it. Nobody's making a brand around it. Because I can't hang out over a glass of haldi drink, right? I have to hang out over a cup of coffee or a chocolate shake. So it's a social connector. And for brand to be built, you need to have a strong physiological input to the product. But at the same time, you need to have a psychological connect of the brand.
Yeah.
And if you have that, you become a slightly more sharper brand in a highly cluttered market. So that's how caffeine happened. And we continue to kind of focus strong on R&D. So all our products are pretty much 4.2 rated across all platforms. And we realize that product love is the only ultimate thing which we can achieve while building this. So that's how caffeine happened. And we were the stupid ones to just build only around caffeine, right? And people, all the smart ones told us that, hedge around, make a broader brand. But we realized that, if you stand for something, you will stand for something, right? And you will continue to stand for it. But if you stand for everything, you don't stand up for anything at all. So that's how we created a niche mCaffeine brand, and it has scaled to a decent level. Coming on the culture, 5Hs, very interesting story, right? Where we believe that founders should be obsessed about 4 C's. One is consumers. You need to be paranoid. Me and my co-founder Vaishali still talks to 500 people. Back in the days, till the time we hit 1 crore packs of production, the number on the pack, the number on the bottle was my personal number. And I used to get calls at midnight. I used to get calls at 4:30 in the morning. And pretty interesting stories, right? Because consumers just realize that if there is a number, there will be someone to pick it up, right? And if you just do that, the amount of confidence you get from the consumer. And that's why we have a very high repeat. We have about 55% revenue comes from our repeat customers. So obsess about consumers, obsess about culture, obsess about competition, and then obsess about capital. We have been trained ulta, obsess about the fundraising. No, raise it from the consumers. That's the best fundraise you will ever get,
Yeah.
right? And the
Yeah.
investors will follow. And hence we realize that at a cultural level, we need to kind of put some pillars. So first is hunger. We are very hungry people, right? So all our people needs to be hungry to create something. If a large big beauty brand has created something in 30 years, you need to create it in 10 years. So you need to have disproportionate hunger. But if you are hungry, you need to hustle because nobody has the answers. So you need to work really, really, really hard to get there, right? But if you are hustling, you will make tremendous amount of mistakes because you're doing it for the first time. And if you're making mistakes, you need to be really honest about your mistakes because mistakes can happen, right? I mean, you can make a mistake for once, but don't repeat it. That's smart, right? So if you're hungry, you're hustling, you need to be honest about your mistakes. And all said and done, complacency kills companies faster than competition. So you need to be really humble about where have you reached because there is always a big brother sitting above you because there's always larger companies, right? So if you're humble, you will almost get there. But if you're not enjoying this journey, what are you doing? So you need to humor yourself out on a day-to-day basis. So we make fun of our mistakes, and we have a very self-deprecating humor, so to say. So hence, humor became the last value.
Lovely. Lovely. But Tarun, now that we've understood your journey, the idea behind this program is also to have a lot of people listening to you right now who want to start up in 2025, where the startup
Yeah.
market has matured, where consumers have matured, even the capital
Yeah.
market has matured. To them,
100%.
do you have sort of tips, so to say, on which sectors do you see sort of making the biggest leap in 2025? If I were to start up today, what should be my core area?
So if you were to start up something today, it comes more from you. What are you passionate about? Because at the end of the day, industry gyan can take you to a formal report. But if you're not passionate about anything, you won't survive for, let's say, 10 years, 20 years. Because building businesses is not app download, right? You can't just pay people 50 rupees cashback and you can get it downloaded, right? It's a seriously stressful journey if it comes to building it for multiple decades. So you need to be really passionate about it. If you're passionate about 2 3 things, you need to figure out which are the areas where you're scared and excited at the same time. It's like bungee jumping. You need to be slightly uncomfortable while building it, but you need to be extremely excited, right? Well, all these is true. You need to figure out that the economy is moving from, let's say, 3.5 to 4 trillion to 10 trillion over a decade, right? So consumption is going to play the most important part in taking this economy. Manufacturing, consumption, and there are more themes around clean energy, clean tech. But I think if you're passionate about something, this country is going through its best time across the globe. And if you build only in consumption, you will most likely survive multiple decades if you get the fundamentals right. And look at what quick commerce is doing to the consumption space. It's just disrupting it, right?
Yeah.
So, but first and foremost, you need to be really passionate about what you're building.
Okay, and can we ask you one very cool decision? I thought it was a very cool decision when we were reading the research about mCaffeine, is that 70% of your leadership, you hire them as freshers and you keep them with you through the years, which I thought was just such a cool structural decision. Can you tell us a little bit about the thought process there?
What she's trying to say kindly, Tarun, is the fact that the world is saying Gen Zs and millennials don't
No,
work.
and they love them.
So how are you hiring them and how are you
It's
keeping
amazing
them?
to watch.
I think we have always been believers of, what we want to do is something probably if the world has not done, you would need a lot of energy to build it. Gen Zs and millennials are born in a world where they're born marketeers. They're born salespeople, right? They would know the caption and they would know the angle of photo better than a lot of marketeers sitting in big brands, right? And how to get that engagement, right? Plus, fundamentally, these are the consumers. They are more sensitive about the plastic they use. They are more sensitive about the communication the brands across them are taking. Across all our verticals, we typically see where is the person coming with a lot of baggage. And I'm not saying that experienced people would not be green or will not have baggage. It's just that the unlearning process is unfortunately takes time. So we have always believed that we'll pick up people, train them, mentor them, and they will become our future leadership. That was the leap of faith. Across all my key verticals, people have been with us about 5 to 6 years, and this brand, the house of brands which we have built, is about 6 year old. So right from day one, there were people who came as an intern and now leading my product strategy.
Yeah.
Came as assistant managers and now leading the R&D. Came as data analysts, now leading the growth strategy for a almost $100 million enterprise. So we were like this. We are taking people like that, and that just has become the DNA. While we also have a lot of people who are subject matter experts,
Sure.
we have spent a decade in any vertical.
Sure. Tarun, extremely fascinating chat. I wish I had more time to sort of dedicate to this, but can I, before I let you go, I have to ask you, the world is talking about 90-hour work week. Startups are known, in fact, almost infamous for their hustle culture. What are your thoughts quickly?
Work-life balance is a function of what work means to you and life means to you. If work means
Okay, we've lost him at that key
losing
question.
him right there, but
you just make that balance. Me and my co-founder Vaishali are married, and we have a kid, 7 month old now. Am I audible?
Yeah,
now?
you are.
yeah,
you
go
and
ahead,
your
go ahead.
co-founder are
We have
married.
some
audible?
pictures actually of the family. We'll pop them up. Yeah.
So me and my co-founder Vaishali are married, and we have a son, 7 month old Wade. So what work means to us is building. What life means to us is that spending time with him. So we take him to the office. He's our youngest intern in the company. He goes with us. He spends time in the office. There's a room for him. That's what work-life balance or work-life integration means. So I think it's not about the number of hours. It's about tracking that balance, because you can't switch yourself off like a laptop, right? So
Yeah.
number of hours is just a debatable topic. I think you just need to crack that balance.
All right, Tarun, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with everything that you go ahead. Let's now quickly